Hi everyone, I'm Rachel and I'm a counsellor working with the Illumina programme. I wanted to respond to some of your questions that have come up in our sessions recently about feeling in control of our bodies and personal boundaries, and I'm going to do that in this video. But first, I wanted to point you towards a video that Rachel Gardner posted this week on learning to say no. If you haven't seen that video, then I absolutely recommend that you do, as it's a great introduction to boundaries, personal space and trusting your gut in order to stay safe. When I was a child, I didn't feel like I had a lot of control over my body. My parents decided what food I ate and how much. They decided when I should be awake and when I should be asleep. They chose my clothes, my hairstyle, and had strict rules about when I was allowed to get my ears pierced. When visiting family or friends, I was expected to give a hug or a kiss when greeting, and in short, my body was not my own. I now have two small children of my own, and since then, experts in child development have changed their recommendations. And now, when my children sit at the table, they choose what to eat from what is available and how much. And they make their own choices about what clothes to wear, how to style their hair, and they know that they can say no to anyone who asks or expects them for a hug or a kiss. Children who are brought up this way learn that they own their own bodies and have a right to make decisions about them. They are in control and they can make their own choices about what they want to do with their bodies and who they want near them. This is important because it allows them to develop healthy boundaries and be able to preserve their personal space. Personal space is something that we all need and we don't always feel able to protect. How many of you, like me, have felt really out of control and unable to protest when someone insists that we just eat one more slice of cake, or that you could really use a drink? How many of us have felt obligated to hug an aunt or an uncle when really we just need not to be touched right now? Being able to make choices about our bodies is a basic human right, but it isn't easy. When we're unable to have control over our bodies and our personal space, we're more likely to feel exhausted, hurt and angry, and to struggle with low self-esteem. Everyone has the right to their own body, however, and to make choices about the way you dress, the way you look, what you put into it, and who gets to be close to you. And your needs will not necessarily be the same as someone else's. We all have bodies, and in order to function healthily as human beings, we need to be able to have control over them. To know that we have the right to own them and to make choices about them. Being able to do this requires boundaries, and for those of us whose experience was more like mine rather than my children's, this is something that we have to relearn and practice as we get older. If you aren't used to asserting your boundaries and taking control of your body, it may be easier to start small. Perhaps you can start by choosing what clothes you want to wear or how to do your hair. You could also think about deciding when and how to meet your body's needs for food, for sleep, or for exercise. And if your body has always been controlled by others, this can be quite hard, but it's worth practicing to take care of your body and to make it your own again. A second way that we can learn to take control is by saying no. Again, start small with friends that you can trust, either role-playing or choosing something small that you can say no to in real life. No, I don't want another helping. My body feels full right now. No, I don't want a hug. My body needs space right now. And if your needs are not respected, feel free to ignore the extra helping on your plate, or to put your hands up to indicate that you are not going to accept a hug. Offering an alternative is another way that you can say no, so if you don't feel ready to refuse completely, you can assert control by offering something different. It can also be helpful to practice telling other people what you do want. Boundaries and owning your body are also about asking for your needs to be met. My children, for example, will tell me when they're hungry and they will tell me when they're tired, and they are very happy to tell me how much they feel like going to the park or to see a friend. If this all sounds a little bit overwhelming and difficult, try practicing what you're going to say in advance. It may sound silly, but I've had a lot of success talking to the mirror or taking some time to write out what I want to say. Sometimes in counselling, we do something called chair work, in which we use an empty chair as a prop in order to say something to a person who's not in the room. Practicing what you want to say in advance can be hugely helpful, both for expressing your feelings and helping you to remember what you want to say. Finally, if you're still struggling with the idea that you or your body are worth protecting, then imagine what you might say to a small child in the same situation and say it to yourself. Your body is just as valuable as theirs. I hope this has been helpful for you. If anything here has been difficult and you feel like you need extra support, or if you have any thoughts or questions, then feel free to get in touch via email or on the web. And in the meantime, I'm going to leave you with a phrase that we've taught our children to say to help them to remember these things. My body, my choice.